You know, people like you, you're a rare breed. Yeah, I said it. Rare. Not because you're special, not because the world owes you anything, but because you dared to care. In this carnival of vultures, you decided, hey, let me be the good guy. Let me be kind. And oh, they ate that up, didn't they? Your kindness was their feast. Your softness was their playground. They took you, ripped you apart, chewed you up, and spat you out without even looking back. And you stood there, didn't you? Still hoping, still believing that maybe, just maybe, they'd change. But let me tell you something, sunshine. People don't change. They reveal who they are. Every time you smiled, every time you gave, every time you forgave, you handed them a weapon. And what did they do with it? They stabbed you in the back, over and over. And each time you thought, maybe I didn't give enough. Maybe I need to be better. No. The problem wasn't you. It was never you. The problem was them. They saw your kindness as a weakness. They saw your love as something to exploit. They saw your patience as a green light to walk all over you. And you let them. Why? Because you thought being good meant being used. You thought being kind meant sacrificing yourself. Listen to me. Kindness isn't letting people step on your neck. Love isn't giving everything until there's nothing left for yourself. That's not kindness. That's self-destruction. And you've been destroying yourself for people who wouldn't lift a finger to save you if you were drowning. Let me guess. You're sitting there, wallowing in your own misery, blaming yourself for everything that went wrong. You're thinking about every single time they hurt you, every single time they took advantage of you. And you're wondering, why me? Why you? Because you let them. You handed them the knife and begged them to stab you. You opened the door to your soul and said, come on in, wreck everything. And they did. Oh, they did? Here's the thing, kid. People like them, they don't deserve people like you. They failed the test. Your kindness was their test, and they failed miserably. Every time they lied to you, every time they used you, every time they made you feel small, they were showing you exactly who they are. And you ignored it. You ignored the red flags because you wanted to believe in the good, but sometimes there is no good. Sometimes people are just rotten. You're sitting here with all this pain, all this anger, and you don't know what to do with it. You want to scream. You want to cry. You want to tear the whole world apart. And you should. You should feel every bit of it. Let it consume you. Let it burn you alive. Because pain like this, it doesn't go away. It doesn't fade. It stays. But you know what you can do with it? You can use it. Take all that pain, all that betrayal, all that anger, and turn it into power. Let it fuel you. Let it drive you. They wanted to break you, didn't they? They wanted to see you crawl. Don't give them that satisfaction. Stand up. Wipe the blood off your face. Look them in the eye and say, "You thought you could destroy me? Watch me rise." Because here's the truth, and it's going to sting. They don't care about you. They never did. They cared about what you could give them, how you made them feel. They took everything they could and left you empty. But you're still standing. You're still here. That means they didn't win. They never will. Do you know what the best revenge is? No, it's not getting even. It's not hurting them the way they hurt you. It's becoming everything they said you couldn't be. It's turning all that pain into greatness. It's proving to yourself, not to them, to yourself, that you're stronger than they ever thought possible. Stop crying over people who wouldn't cry over you. Stop breaking yourself for people who wouldn't bend for you. Stop giving pieces of your soul to people who don't even know how to hold them. They don't deserve you. They never did. And I know what you're thinking. But Joker, if I stop being kind, won't I become just like them? No, you won't. Because kindness isn't about being a doormat. Kindness is about having the strength to say, "I deserve better." It's about setting boundaries. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to settle for less. You're not weak because you care. You're not weak because you love. But you're weak if you let them keep taking from you. Strength isn't about how much you can give. It's about knowing when to stop. So stop. Stop giving to people who take you for granted. Stop loving people who don't love you back. Stop waiting for people to change when they've shown you exactly who they are. Your kindness was their test, and they failed miserably. Now it's your turn. It's your turn to rise, to grow, to become everything they thought you couldn't be. Don't do it for them. Do it for yourself. Because at the end of the day, the only person you owe anything to is you. They'll regret it, you know. One day they'll look back and realize what they lost. They'll see you shining, thriving, unstoppable, and they'll hate themselves for it. But by then, it won't matter, because you'll be so far ahead, so far beyond their reach, that their regret will mean nothing. So stand up, stand tall, show them that they didn't break you. Show them that you're stronger than they ever thought possible. Show them that their failure wasn't your end. It was your beginning. Remember this, your kindness was their test, and they failed miserably. Now, it's time for you to pass yours. Oh, you think this is over? You think I'm done? No, 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 sit down. We're just getting started. You don't get to walk away from this without facing the truth, the whole truth, the one you've been running from your whole life. Yeah, you're good at running, aren't you? Running from the pain, from the betrayal, from yourself. Well, guess what? You can't run forever. Eventually, it catches up. And here we are. Let's talk about your kindness. That little spark inside you that keeps whispering, maybe they'll change. Maybe they didn't mean it. Maybe it's my fault. Shut it up. Right now. That voice is not your friend. That voice is the same one that's been chaining you to people who couldn't care less if you lived or died. Kindness, real kindness, doesn't come from weakness. It comes from strength. But here's the kicker. Strength isn't just about giving. It's about knowing when to stop. It's about looking someone in the eye and saying, I see you for who you really are, and I won't let you use me anymore. That's kindness. Not this martyrdom you've been parading around thinking it makes you a saint. Saints get crucified, kid. Is that what you want? Look at the scars they've left on you. Go on, look. Every lie, every betrayal, every time they made you feel like you were nothing, those are your battle wounds. And you wear them like a badge, don't you? Like some twisted trophy. But here's the thing about scars. They don't just show where you've been hurt. They show where you've healed. So heal. Stop reopening the wounds just to feel something. Stop letting them tear you apart just to prove you can survive it. You're not here to survive. You're here to live. And living means cutting out the rot. It means looking at the people who've hurt you and saying, you don't get to do this to me anymore. I know what you're thinking. You're scared. You're scared to let go because a part of you still thinks they might come back, that they might say they're sorry, that they might finally see your worth. But let me tell you something, sunshine. They've already seen your worth. They saw it, and they decided to take it for granted. They knew exactly what you were worth, and they chose to treat you like you were worthless. Let that sink in. The people who hurt you, they're not blind, they're selfish. They knew you'd forgive them. They knew you'd stay. And they used that against you every single time. So stop waiting for an apology that's never coming. Stop holding on to hope that they'll change. They won't. They don't deserve your forgiveness. And they sure as hell don't deserve your love. You're sitting here thinking that cutting them out means you're cruel, that it means you've given up on them. But you're not cruel. You're realistic. And giving up on someone who's been dragging you down isn't cruelty. It's survival. It's self-respect. It's knowing that you deserve better than the scraps they're throwing at you. You gave them kindness, real kindness, and they threw it in your face. That's not your failure. It's theirs. And you know what? That's their problem now, not yours. Stop carrying their guilt. Stop carrying their shame. It's not your job to fix them. It's your job to fix yourself. Because here's the thing. They're not coming to save you. No one is. You have to save yourself. You have to look in the mirror and say, I'm done being a victim. I'm done being their punching bag. I'm done letting them define who I am. You've got two choices, kid. You can sit here and keep letting them win, or you can get up and take back what's yours. Take back your power. Take back your life. Take back your soul. And when you do, when you finally stand up and walk away from them, they'll notice. Oh, they'll notice. They'll come crawling back, begging for another chance, swearing they've changed. Don't believe it. It's a trap. They'll try to pull you back in because they need you. They need your kindness, your forgiveness, your love to feel good about themselves. Don't give it to them. Let them sink in the mess they've made. You don't owe them anything. Not your time, not your tears, not your forgiveness. The only person you owe anything to is yourself. And you owe it to yourself to move on, to grow, to be better. Not for them, but for you. Let me ask you something. What would you do if you weren't afraid? If you weren't afraid of losing them, of being alone, of failing? Think about that. Really think about it. Because fear is what's been holding you back. Not love, not kindness. Fear. And fear, it's a liar. It whispers in your ear, telling you that you can't survive without them, that you'll never find anyone else, that you're not enough. But you are. You are enough. You always were. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to stand up. You're going to take all that pain, all that anger, all that fear, and you're going to use it. You're going to let it fuel you, drive you, push you to become the person you were always meant to be. And when you do, when you finally become that person, they'll see it. They'll see what they lost, and it'll eat them alive. But by then, it won't matter, because you'll be so far ahead, so far beyond their reach, that their regret will be nothing more than a whisper in the wind. So rise. Rise from the ashes they left you in. Rise and show them that you're not just a survivor. You're a force to be reckoned with. Because your kindness was their test, and they failed. Now, it's your turn to show them what happens when you stop being kind to people who don't deserve it. Your story doesn't end here. It begins right now. You know what their real problem was? They underestimated you. They saw your kindness, your willingness to give, and they mistook it for weakness. Funny how that works, huh? They thought because you cared, you couldn't be strong. They thought because you forgave, you couldn't draw the line. But what they didn't see, what they couldn't see, is that kindness is the ultimate strength. It's easy to be cruel. It's easy to tear someone down, to take and take without ever giving back. Any coward can do that. And that's exactly what they are. Cowards. Weak, spineless cowards who couldn't handle the fact that you were stronger than them in ways they'll never understand. You think strength is about muscles? About power? About control? No. Real strength is in the quiet. It's in the patience to keep going when everything inside you is screaming to give up. It's in the courage to care, even when the world tells you to stop. That's strength, and you have it in spades. But strength doesn't mean letting people use you. It doesn't mean being everyone's doormat. It means knowing your worth, standing your ground, and walking away when you need to. You've been carrying everyone else's weight for so long, you've forgotten how to stand tall for yourself. You've been bending over backwards for people who wouldn't even take a step forward for you. Stop it. Stop breaking yourself into pieces to make other people feel whole. Stop giving and giving until there's nothing left for yourself. You think that's noble? You think that makes you a good person? No. It makes you a fool. A fool who's been used and discarded by people who don't even deserve to know your name. And let's talk about them. These people you've been breaking yourself for. Do you think they care? Do you think they lose sleep at night, thinking about what they've done to you? No. They're sleeping like babies, dreaming of their next victim, their next conquest. You? You're just another stepping stone to them, another name on their list. They don't deserve you. They never did. And you need to stop pretending that they do. You need to stop hoping for something that will never come. Closure, apologies, redemption, forget it. Those are luxuries they'll never give you because they don't have the capacity to understand what they've done. But you understand. You feel it. Don't you? Every scar they left, every piece of you they took, it's all still there, buried deep inside. And it's screaming to be acknowledged. So acknowledge it, feel it, let it hurt, let it burn, and then let it go. Because here's the truth, you don't need them. You never did. The strength you're looking for, the validation you're craving, it's not out there. It's in you. It's always been in you. You just forgot how to see it. They blinded you with their lies, their manipulations, their false promises. But now, it's time to open your eyes. Look at yourself. Really look. See the scars, the wounds, the pain, and realize that you survived. You're still here. You're still breathing. You're still fighting. That's power. That's resilience. That's what they were afraid of all along. Because deep down, they knew they couldn't break you. Not completely. Sure, they tried. They tore you apart piece by piece, hoping you'd crumble. But you didn't. You're still standing, battered and bruised, but unbroken. And that terrifies them. They wanted to see you destroyed because it made them feel powerful. It made them feel in control. But now the tables have turned. Now it's your turn to take control. And here's how you do it. You stop caring about them. You stop wasting your energy on people who don't deserve it. You stop giving your time, your love, your kindness to people who wouldn't give you the time of day. You take all of that energy, all of that love, and you pour it into yourself. Yeah, I said it. Yourself. The person who's been with you through it all. The person who's picked up the pieces every time they left you shattered. The person who's fought to keep going even when it felt impossible. That person deserves your kindness. That person deserves your love. You've been so busy trying to save everyone else, you forgot to save yourself. Well, now's the time. No one else is coming. No one else is going to do it for you. It's up to you, and you can do it. I know you can. Because you're stronger than they'll ever be. You've endured more pain, more betrayal, more heartbreak than most people could even imagine. And you're still here. That's not weakness. That's not failure. That's strength. Pure, unfiltered strength. So use it. Use it to rebuild yourself. Use it to create the life you deserve. Use it to become the person you were always meant to be. Not for them, not to prove anything to anyone, but for you. Because at the end of the day, the only person who matters is you. The only person who can save you is you. And the only person who deserves your kindness, your love, your time, is you. So rise. Rise from the ashes they left you in. Rise and show them that their failure was your beginning. Rise and become everything they said you couldn't be. Because your kindness was their test, and they failed miserably. Now it's your turn to show them what happens when you finally put yourself first. This is your story. Write it, own it, live it. You think this is hard? You think this pain is unbearable? Oh, sweetheart, let me tell you something. This is the beginning of the rest of your life, the beginning of your awakening, because pain, real, gut-wrenching, soul-crushing pain, isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. It's the only thing in this miserable world that tells you the truth without sugarcoating it. And right now, it's screaming at you to wake up. But you don't want to hear that, do you? You'd rather drown in your pity, clutching onto the memories of people who treated you like dirt, hoping, praying that somehow they'll realize their mistakes and come running back to you. Spoiler alert, they won't. They never will. And even if they did, would you honestly want them? Think about it. Really think about it. These people who tore you apart piece by piece, do they deserve a second chance? Do they deserve your forgiveness? No. They don't even deserve a passing thought. And yet, here you are, stuck in the past, letting their actions define your present. It's pathetic. You've got all this anger inside you, all this fire, and you're just letting it burn you alive. Why? Because you think anger is bad? Because you think holding on to it makes you a bad person? No, no, no. Anger isn't the problem. The problem is what you do with it. You've been wasting it, letting it turn inward, using it to destroy yourself instead of using it to build something new. Anger is energy, kid. Pure, raw energy. And you can either let it consume you or let it drive you. Your choice. But let me tell you, if you let it drive you, if you harness it, control it, use it, it'll make you unstoppable. They called you weak, didn't they? They laughed at your kindness, mocked your love, spat on your forgiveness. But they have no idea what you're capable of. They thought your softness made you easy to break. What they didn't realize is that your softness is what makes you unbreakable. Because here's the thing about people like you. You bend, but you don't snap. You endure. You adapt. You survive. And that scares the hell out of them. They wanted to see you broken, but all they did was make you stronger. Every lie, every betrayal, every scar, they were just sharpening the blade. And now, that blade is in your hands. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to let it rust, leave it unused, let it sit there as a reminder of what they did to you? Or are you going to wield it, use it to carve out a new path, a new life, a new you? They thought they destroyed you. Prove them wrong. Show them that every ounce of pain they gave you was just fuel for the fire. Show them that the person they tried to tear down doesn't exist anymore. Because you're not that person. Not anymore. You're stronger now, harder, wiser. You've seen the truth about people, about life, about yourself. And that truth, it's ugly, it's brutal, but it's real. And real is what you need right now. Not lies, not illusions, not false hope. Real. The real you is rising, breaking free from the chains they put you in. And let me tell you something about chains. They're only as strong as you let them be. You've been holding on to those chains, refusing to let go because you think they define you. They don't. They never did. You define you. Your choices, your actions, your strength. That's what defines you, not them. Not their words, not their actions. You. So choose. Choose to rise. Choose to let go of the people who hurt you. Choose to take all that pain, all that anger, all that fire, and use it to become something greater. Not for them, not to prove anything to them, but for you. Because you deserve it. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be free. You deserve to live a life that's yours, not a life dictated by the people who couldn't see your worth. They failed your test miserably. Now it's your turn. Your turn to rise. Your turn to thrive. Your turn to take back everything they stole from you. And more. And when you do, when you finally become the person you were always meant to be, they'll regret it. They'll regret every lie, every betrayal, every time they made you feel like you were nothing. But by then, their regret won't matter, because you'll be so far ahead, so far above their reach, that they'll be nothing more than a shadow in your past. So rise, kid, rise, and show them that their failure wasn't your end, it was your beginning. Rise and become everything they said you couldn't be. Rise and take back your power, your life, your soul. Because this isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning, and it's going to be one hell of a story. So write it, own it, live it, and never ever forget. Your kindness was their test, and they failed miserably. But you're about to pass yours with flying colors. You want to know the funniest part? They'll never understand the magnitude of what they lost. Never. It'll haunt them in moments they can't predict. In the quiet hours when the world slows down. When they're forced to sit with themselves. That's when it'll hit them. The void. The hole they created when they ripped you apart. But don't you dare make the mistake of waiting for that moment. Don't wait for them to regret it, to come crawling back, to say the words you deserve to hear. Their regret doesn't heal you. Their apologies don't fix you. Only you can do that. You're sitting there, holding onto every word they said, every promise they broke, every time they made you feel like you weren't enough. You're replaying it all in your head over and over, as if somehow that'll change the ending. But it won't. The past is carved in stone. You can't change it. What you can change is what you do next. They tried to destroy you. That was their goal, wasn't it? To reduce you to nothing, to leave you questioning your worth, your place in this world. And for a while, they succeeded. You doubted yourself. You hated yourself. You let their actions dictate your value. But here's the thing. Their actions were never about you. Their betrayal, their lies, their cruelty. It was never about who you are. It was about who they are. Weak, insecure, selfish. They saw your light, and it terrified them. So, they tried to snuff it out. But your light is still there. Buried, maybe. Dimmed, sure. But it's there. And it's waiting for you to set it free. You're not broken, no matter how much they tried to convince you otherwise. You're not ruined. You're not less than. You're a goddamn phoenix, waiting to rise from the ashes they left you in. And when you rise, when you finally stand tall, they'll feel it. Oh, they'll feel it. They'll look at you and see everything they'll never have, everything they threw away, and it'll eat them alive. But by then, it won't matter to you, because you'll be untouchable. Let me tell you something about people like them. They're parasites. They latch onto anyone who'll give them what they need. Attention, validation, power. And they suck them dry. That's what they did to you, isn't it? They drained you of everything you had to give. And when there was nothing left, They moved on. But here's the secret. They don't want you to know. You don't need them. You never did. The only power they had over you was the power you gave them. And now, you're taking it back. You think it's too late, don't you? Too late to rebuild, to start over, to find happiness again. That's the lie they've been feeding you. That's the chain they've wrapped around your mind. But it's not too late. It's never too late. As long as you're breathing. As long as you're alive. You have a chance to turn it all around. Look at me. Look at me. You're stronger than you think. Stronger than they ever gave you credit for. You've endured more than most people could handle, and you're still here. That's not weakness. That's power. That's resilience. But resilience alone isn't enough. You've got to channel it. You've got to use it. You've got to take all that pain, all that anger, all that betrayal, and turn it into fuel. Fuel to create something new, something unstoppable, something they can never touch. And I know it's hard. I know it feels impossible. But nothing worth having ever comes easy. You want to heal. You want to move on. You want to become the person you were always meant to be. Then fight for it. Fight for yourself. Fight like hell. Because the world isn't going to hand it to you. It's not going to apologize for the pain it's caused you. It's not going to make it easy. But that's the beauty of it. The harder the fight, the sweeter the victory. So fight. Fight for your peace. Fight for your happiness. Fight for the life you deserve. And don't you dare stop until you have it. And when you get there, when you finally reach the place you've been fighting for, don't forget what it took to get there. Don't forget the scars, the pain, the lessons. They're a part of you now. They're your armor. But most importantly, don't forget who you are. You're not their victim. You're not their puppet. You're not their punching bag. You're a warrior, a survivor, a goddamn force of nature. So rise. Rise from the ashes they left you in. Rise and show them what happens when you refuse to break. Rise and become the person they never thought you could be. Because this isn't the end of your story. It's just the beginning. And it's going to be one hell of a story. Remember this. Your kindness was their test, and they failed miserably. But you're about to pass yours with flying colors. Now go. Go and show the world what you're made of.